China successfully launched its largest carrier rocket on Tuesday, carrying a new generation spacecraft.
3、2、1，点火！
Could China have just secretly unveiled a technology so powerful it could shift global power forever? For years, we've watched as China boldly conquered space, rapidly challenging even the likes of NASA and SpaceX. But this time, it's different. They've launched something so advanced that experts are calling it a game changer for humanity. Is this the dawn of a new era, or the start of something far more dangerous? The shocking announcement heard around the world. On February 11th, 2025, the world woke up to a stunning announcement from China. With a rocket launch more ambitious than any they'd attempted before, China made a bold statement to global rivals like SpaceX and NASA, shaking up the entire aerospace industry. The launch wasn't just impressive, it was unprecedented, marking the beginning of a technological era that could redefine humanity's future in space. But what exactly had China launched that was so revolutionary? And why were global powers suddenly on high alert? The spacecraft that soared skyward that day was no ordinary rocket. It was the newly developed Long March 8A, China's most powerful carrier rocket yet. Built to handle payloads larger and heavier than ever before, it represented a leap forward in satellite technology, capable of carrying multiple satellites into low Earth orbit simultaneously. This massive payload capability immediately put SpaceX's Starlink program on notice, challenging Elon Musk's dominance in global satellite communication networks. But could China really outperform SpaceX's proven success? With each satellite strategically placed in orbit, China's new technology promised improved communication networks, superior surveillance capabilities, and advanced environmental monitoring. These benefits alone would have been enough to draw international attention, yet whispers within intelligence communities hinted at even more groundbreaking features hidden within the satellites. Suddenly, analysts worldwide wondered if this was more than just another satellite launch. Had China truly hidden something even more advanced on board? In the days following the launch, analysts pored over satellite imagery and leaked Chinese military documents, uncovering clues suggesting that these satellites could possess capabilities far exceeding public disclosures. Speculation ranged from advanced artificial intelligence systems to unprecedented defense technologies. Could these satellites be part of a secret strategy designed not just to rival commercial satellite networks, but to fundamentally alter global security dynamics? The geopolitical tension was palpable. The United States, traditionally at the forefront of aerospace technology, found itself facing a formidable competitor seemingly overnight. Concerns grew over China's true intentions, as defense experts debated whether these satellites could also serve military purposes, giving China new strategic advantages in space warfare.
Ability to deal with emergencies in orbit, to do first aid and conduct experiments in space.
Could this launch truly tip the scales of global power? The launch of the Long March 8A rocket was more than just an aerospace milestone. It was a geopolitical chess move that caught the world's attention. Leaders around the globe scrambled to respond, sensing a shift in the technological balance of power. Publicly, China maintained it was merely enhancing its communication networks, but privately, leaders wondered about the hidden motives behind this advanced new spacecraft. Was this a peaceful technological leap, or something far more sinister? Media outlets worldwide scrambled for information, amplifying rumors and speculation about China's true intentions. Headlines screamed about China's secret space capabilities, fueling both awe and fear among the public. Citizens globally found themselves divided. Was China ushering in a brighter future, or were we witnessing the beginning of a new and dangerous era? As questions swirled, one thing became certain: the launch of China's Long March 8A rocket had changed the global narrative overnight. But what exactly did China plan to do next? And would the world be prepared for what came next? China's rise in space. How did we get here? China's journey toward aerospace dominance didn't start overnight. It began decades earlier during the Cold War era. Back in the 1950s, China's space ambitions were modest, relying heavily on Soviet support. Their early rocket experiments were relatively basic, driven by necessity rather than ambition. However, those modest beginnings planted seeds for the determined space power we know today. How did China transform itself from a follower into one of the world's most advanced spacefaring nations? The Chinese government recognized early on that space exploration would be critical to both national security and economic power. This led them to invest heavily in science and engineering education, cultivating a vast talent pool that would become their space industry's backbone. Gradually, as international relations changed, China was forced into independence, driving rapid innovation and self-reliance. Would this forced isolation become the catalyst China needed to leap ahead of other space powers? By 1970, China surprised the world by launching Dongfang Hong-1, their first satellite, aboard the Long March 1 rocket. This achievement made China only the fifth country capable of sending satellites into orbit, proving to the world they were a force to be reckoned with. While other nations celebrated, analysts realized this was only the beginning of China's ambition. What exactly was China planning next? Throughout the 1980s and 90s, China's space program matured rapidly. The Long March rocket family evolved, steadily increasing their launch capability and reliability. Each successful launch built confidence, fueling even bolder projects like lunar missions and advanced communication satellites. While the West focused on the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station, China quietly closed the technological gap. Was the world underestimating just how far China could go? Entering the 21st century, China's ambitions soared further with the launch of their first manned spacecraft, Shenzhou 5, in 2003. Astronaut Yang Liwei's journey made China only the third country in history to independently achieve human spaceflight. From that moment, China accelerated rapidly, launching space stations, lunar missions, and Mars rovers, steadily outpacing even long-time space rivals like Russia. Could China's relentless pace be stopped? With each milestone, China grew more confident, investing aggressively in technologies that other nations considered too risky or expensive. Their Tiangong space station, a direct competitor to the International Space Station, showcased China's growing ambition to lead humanity's future in space. This boldness challenged the existing order and sparked tensions, particularly with the United States, which viewed China's rapid growth with suspicion. Was conflict inevitable? As China's ambitions expanded to Mars and beyond, the global community became increasingly uneasy. China's ability to succeed where others had failed made it clear they were no longer following in the footsteps of others. They were blazing their own path. The successful landing of the Zhurong rover on Mars in 2021 only reinforced China's credibility.
China's Zhurong rover has sent back 3 spectacular snapshots from picture-perfect Mars
And demonstrated their capability to match or even surpass Western space technology. Was this the turning point where China finally claimed leadership in space? Today, China's aerospace program is one of the most sophisticated in the world, combining civilian exploration with strategic military aims. But exactly how powerful has China truly become? Could their latest launch indicate the beginning of something that even experts had yet to fully comprehend? China's hidden agenda. What's really up there? While China openly celebrated the launch of the Long March 8A rocket, analysts around the world were growing increasingly uneasy about what exactly was hidden within its payload. On the surface, the mission appeared simple enough. Multiple satellites aimed at enhancing communication, surveillance, and environmental monitoring. Yet behind this official narrative, suspicions grew that something much deeper and more strategic was unfolding. Could China's seemingly routine satellite launch actually be a cover for something far more revolutionary? Intelligence agencies quickly scrambled their resources to decode exactly what had been placed into orbit. Satellite tracking by the US Space Force showed unusual maneuvers taking place in orbit, indicating capabilities that extended far beyond ordinary communications equipment. Observers noted that these satellites appeared to possess remarkable maneuverability, hinting at an advanced propulsion system previously unseen in conventional satellites. Had China just achieved a breakthrough in satellite technology that could fundamentally alter space warfare?
That are monitoring for infrared signatures. That's another way of saying they look for heat.
Theories began to emerge, each more alarming than the last. Some suggested these satellites were equipped with advanced laser systems designed for defense, or even offensive purposes, giving China unprecedented capabilities to disable enemy satellites.
Solely on satellites for communications, but 1% of the global communications traffic goes via satellite.
Others believed the satellites utilized revolutionary artificial intelligence algorithms, enabling autonomous decision-making in orbit, a feature previously considered too risky to deploy. If true, this would grant China a tactical advantage unmatched by any other nation. But could China really have mastered such futuristic technology? Adding to these concerns, classified intelligence leaked from Western agencies indicated that China had been quietly experimenting with space-based power generation technology for years.
And of course, the challenge with applying this to space-based solar power is extending that scale and that power by a dramatic amount.
Rumors surfaced that these new satellites might be testing a form of wireless energy transmission, a precursor to space-based solar power stations capable of sending limitless clean energy back to Earth. Such a capability would dramatically alter global energy markets, shifting geopolitical power overnight. Could China's real motive be economic dominance rather than just military superiority? Further complicating matters, some independent aerospace experts speculated that China's satellites were part of a new stealth communication network, specifically designed to evade detection by current monitoring systems. If true, China could conduct global communications secretly, immune to interception, surveillance, or interference. This revelation would pose a serious challenge to Western intelligence agencies and their ability to maintain strategic oversight. Was China now one step ahead in the global intelligence game? Western governments quickly issued cautious public statements, requesting transparency from China about the true nature of its satellite payloads. However, China remained deliberately ambiguous, neither confirming nor denying the speculation. Their silence only fueled further suspicion. What did China have to hide? And why was their response to international inquiries so elusive? Amid growing paranoia, China maintained that its intentions were peaceful and purely technological. Yet military analysts pointed out that dual-use capabilities, civilian technologies with potential military applications, were inherent in many advanced satellite systems. This ambiguity allowed China plausible deniability, masking potential military threats behind civilian infrastructure. Was this deliberate ambiguity part of China's larger strategic plan? As speculation intensified, the world stood anxiously at the brink of uncertainty. The seemingly innocent satellite launch had turned into a global puzzle, with nations desperate to decipher China's true intentions. Could this mission truly alter global power structures forever? Or was the world reacting prematurely, driven by fear of the unknown?
The launch was broadcast live on state television, a sign of China's growing confidence in its technological might.
Elon Musk's Starlink versus China's orbital ambition. While nations debated China's motives, one man felt the pressure more intensely than anyone else: Elon Musk. His Starlink project, which had dominated global satellite communications for years, suddenly faced unprecedented competition. With China now rapidly deploying their satellites, Musk knew the industry was at a critical crossroads. Was this the beginning of a new global space race, one driven by commercial satellite dominance? Starlink had revolutionized global internet connectivity, bringing reliable high-speed internet to even the most remote locations on Earth. Yet, overnight, Musk found himself facing a competitor with the resources and state-backed determination to match or surpass his satellite network. Industry analysts predicted China could deploy satellites at twice Starlink's rate, rapidly saturating Earth's low orbits. Could Starlink's dominance be about to end? Musk wasn't one to back down from a challenge, but even he knew the stakes were higher this time. If China succeeded in establishing a superior satellite network, Starlink risked losing both customers and global influence. This wasn't just a commercial threat. It also meant losing the strategic advantage Musk had built through Starlink's worldwide infrastructure. How could Musk possibly respond to China's aggressive push? Experts speculated that China's government-subsidized approach would allow them to undercut Starlink prices significantly, appealing not only to developing nations but also to major global markets previously dominated by Musk's satellites.
Now, researchers say that radio waves from Elon Musk's growing network of satellites.
In response, Musk swiftly announced new plans to launch upgraded Starlink satellites, promising unprecedented speed, security, and affordability. Would innovation alone be enough for Musk to fend off China's aggressive expansion? Some analysts argued that China's entry into the satellite market could actually benefit consumers, prompting healthy competition, improved services, and lower costs. But others warned that China's satellite ambitions carried hidden geopolitical consequences, potentially giving them control over critical global communication infrastructure. If China managed to eclipse Starlink, could this shift in power fundamentally change global connectivity? Musk, always outspoken on social media, expressed subtle but clear warnings about China's intentions, urging Western governments to support private companies like SpaceX in this critical competition. Yet critics questioned whether Musk's warnings were truly driven by concern for global security, or merely fear of losing market dominance. Was Musk genuinely worried about global security, or was this about protecting his own empire? Facing intense competition, Musk considered radical moves, including partnerships with other Western space companies, expanded satellite capabilities, and even rapid advancement of SpaceX's Mars colonization plans, positioning himself beyond Earth-based rivalry. But would these drastic moves be enough to maintain Starlink's dominance? As Musk plotted his response, the entire aerospace industry watched with bated breath. The confrontation between China's ambitious satellite launch and Musk's Starlink was shaping up to be the defining technological showdown of the decade. Who would ultimately come out on top, and what would the consequences be for the rest of humanity? China's next move? Weaponizing space? As Musk and Starlink scrambled to respond, another unsettling concern emerged from within military circles. China's latest satellite launches, initially presented as innocent technological advancements, now appeared potentially weaponized. Military strategists began openly speculating whether China's peaceful narrative was merely a smokescreen to obscure a more troubling objective: domination of space through advanced weaponry. Could China's satellites actually be designed for military superiority rather than civilian benefit? US intelligence agencies had been monitoring Chinese developments for years, but what they observed now shocked even seasoned analysts. Advanced sensors detected China's satellites performing highly coordinated maneuvers, suggesting capabilities far beyond standard orbiting equipment. Observers noticed satellites conducting proximity operations, essentially docking maneuvers, without clear purpose or explanation. Had China quietly developed the capability to capture or disable enemy satellites in orbit? This alarming possibility wasn't just theoretical. Back in 2007, China had already demonstrated anti-satellite capabilities by deliberately destroying one of their own satellites using a missile. The incident left thousands of dangerous fragments orbiting Earth, threatening all space infrastructure. With that historical precedent, analysts feared China might now be employing subtler, more sophisticated methods to control space. Was China now testing new anti-satellite technology, hidden in plain sight? Further reinforcing these fears, sources inside the Pentagon leaked classified briefings claiming that China was testing satellites equipped with directed energy weapons, laser systems powerful enough to damage enemy satellites or disrupt communications. Such weaponry would mark a dramatic escalation, allowing China to blind adversaries' surveillance and communications infrastructure without firing a single shot. How close was China to turning space into a new battlefield? The Chinese government categorically denied weaponizing space.
What makes more sense is the possibility of some sort of space-based jammer,
repeatedly emphasizing their commitment to peaceful scientific progress. However, military strategists pointed out the blurred line between civilian and military applications in space. A satellite used for navigation or communication could easily become a strategic asset during wartime. This dual-use ambiguity gave China plausible deniability, complicating diplomatic efforts to regulate space militarization. Could China be exploiting this grey area to quietly build unprecedented military power? Meanwhile, other global powers watched anxiously. Countries like Russia, India, and Japan quickly accelerated their own space defense programs, fearing China's moves might spark a full-scale militarization of space. NATO also expressed serious concern, holding emergency meetings to discuss countermeasures. Was China's satellite launch inadvertently triggering a global arms race in orbit? Military experts openly debated whether China intended to deploy offensive satellites to disrupt enemy infrastructure or was simply building defensive capabilities to secure its interests. Yet, no matter their true intention, the very presence of these advanced satellites shifted global security dynamics. China's demonstration of space power had, intentionally or not, revealed vulnerabilities in existing satellite defenses worldwide. How would other nations adapt to this new reality? With military tensions growing, governments quietly prepared defensive strategies, scrambling to protect their satellites from potential Chinese interference. Elon Musk himself discreetly ramped up security measures around Starlink satellites, even hinting at developing defensive countermeasures. Could Musk's civilian company realistically stand against a determined, state-sponsored military threat? As suspicion mounted, the world nervously awaited China's next move. Would Beijing use its new capabilities purely as leverage in international diplomacy? Or did they truly plan to assert dominance in space, potentially sparking conflict far beyond Earth? China's secret weapon. While military experts feared China's satellites might hide weaponry, economic analysts saw an even more impactful scenario unfolding. China was using its advanced space capabilities as an economic weapon. By rapidly advancing satellite and orbital technology, China was laying the groundwork for a dramatic shift in global economic power. Could China's real objective be economic dominance rather than military supremacy? One major implication was China's ambitious plan for space-based solar power stations, SPS, systems capable of collecting solar energy in orbit and wirelessly transmitting it to Earth. With successful launches of advanced satellites, China demonstrated critical progress towards this goal, positioning itself to control a virtually limitless source of renewable energy. Such power stations could disrupt global energy markets, undercutting traditional fossil fuel economies and even eclipsing renewable energy investments worldwide. Was China quietly setting the stage for global economic transformation? Further adding to China's economic advantage, the ability to deploy cost-effective satellite internet would allow China unprecedented influence over global digital infrastructure. By providing reliable, low-cost internet access, particularly to developing countries, China could rapidly expand its economic reach and diplomatic influence, dramatically reshaping global connectivity markets currently dominated by companies like Starlink. Could China soon control both global energy and communication infrastructures? Observers also noted that China's investments in space technology dramatically boosted its domestic economy, creating millions of jobs in aerospace, technology, and manufacturing sectors. China's space missions fueled growth in fields like artificial intelligence, robotics, and advanced manufacturing, industries that would shape global economies for decades. Could this strategic economic boost give China an insurmountable competitive edge? Financial analysts warned that China's new capabilities might also challenge Western economies in unexpected ways. A satellite network capable of autonomous global navigation, advanced communication encryption, or even rapid global transactions could disrupt existing economic systems, weakening Western control of global financial networks. Would China's orbital technologies become powerful economic leverage in global finance? Economists further warned of potential strategic vulnerabilities for Western economies heavily reliant on satellite communications. With China's growing capabilities to interfere with, or even subtly influence, satellite signals, global financial systems could face unprecedented threats. Even minor disruptions to global satellite networks could trigger economic instability, with massive implications for trade, markets, and global stability. Was China now holding a hidden economic ace, capable of destabilizing global finance at will? Yet China's space ambitions didn't just threaten Western interests. They also forced nations worldwide to reconsider their own investments. European countries quickly launched new satellite and aerospace initiatives to compete economically. Even traditionally neutral countries accelerated their space investments.
The European Union has outlined a plan to launch a mega constellation of satellites into space to run the internet.
Unwilling to risk being economically sidelined by China's space ambitions, was this the beginning of a global economic reshuffle driven by space technology? Despite growing fears, some experts remained optimistic, arguing that China's advancements might spark beneficial global competition, spurring innovation, driving down costs, and pushing humanity further into space exploration and sustainable energy solutions. Could China's controversial advancements ultimately benefit the global economy, or was economic upheaval inevitable? Amid growing economic anxiety, global markets cautiously awaited the real-world impact of China's advanced satellites. Would China's economic ambitions in space lift humanity into a prosperous, interconnected future, or lead the global economy into an era of uncertainty and dependency on China? China's hidden influence, shaping global power dynamics. As the world grappled with military and economic implications, experts began noticing another profound consequence. China's rapid advancements in space technology dramatically increased its geopolitical influence. Nations worldwide, especially smaller countries, watched China's space achievements in awe, prompting a shift in global alliances and diplomatic relationships. Was China's ambitious space program intentionally designed to reshape international power dynamics? China strategically leveraged its technological superiority, offering satellite launches and space collaboration to countries that previously depended on Western technologies. By providing critical space infrastructure, such as communication satellites, weather monitoring systems, and navigation capabilities, China skillfully positioned itself as an indispensable partner to developing nations. Could China's generosity in space cooperation hide a deeper strategic intent? Observers noticed that African, Asian, and even Latin American nations increasingly turned to China for satellite launches and space partnerships, attracted by lower costs, fewer regulatory hurdles, and substantial Chinese investments in local infrastructure. China's Belt and Road Initiative seamlessly extended into space, offering affordable, accessible satellite technology as a new diplomatic currency. Was China using space technology to secure a global web of influence far beyond traditional politics? Western nations quickly expressed concern that China's partnerships might come with hidden strings attached. Intelligence agencies pointed to instances where Chinese-built satellites reportedly included secret communication channels, potentially allowing Beijing to monitor or even disrupt the host nation's activities at will. Were countries inadvertently surrendering their sovereignty in exchange for cheap satellite services? Diplomatic analysts argued that China's space diplomacy was also part of a broader soft power strategy. China used its remarkable achievements, such as the successful landing of rovers on the Moon and Mars, to project an image of technological leadership, inspiring admiration and respect worldwide. By positioning itself as a visionary leader in science and exploration, China subtly challenged American dominance in global culture and influence. Could space become China's ultimate soft power tool? These geopolitical shifts triggered alarm bells in Washington, Brussels, and Tokyo, prompting them to rapidly reassess their diplomatic and technological strategies. The US ramped up its own space collaboration initiatives, aiming to counterbalance China's growing influence. NATO began re-examining space policy, contemplating measures to strengthen alliances and offer alternative partnerships to nations wary of Chinese influence. But was it too late? Despite these efforts, China's appeal as a space partner remained strong, especially given the perceived failures or delays of Western-led programs. Countries tired of being sidelined or patronized by traditional superpowers eagerly embraced China's pragmatic approach, even if it meant potential risks. Was this the moment China's patient strategy finally bore fruit, permanently altering global power structures? China's strategic influence was no longer hypothetical. It had become real and tangible, reshaping international alliances, economic dependencies, and even military partnerships. The subtle, silent strength of China's space capabilities had quietly repositioned the nation at the heart of global diplomacy. Would China now set the global agenda for space exploration and, more broadly, geopolitics in the 21st century? Elon Musk responds. SpaceX strikes back. While nations worldwide grappled with China's geopolitical maneuvers, one individual stood at the forefront of the response: Elon Musk. Recognizing the threat China's advancements posed to SpaceX's dominance, Musk wasted no time mounting a fierce counterattack. Publicly, he remained cautiously diplomatic, but privately, he doubled down on SpaceX's aggressive innovation. Could Musk's determined efforts reverse China's gains? Musk quickly accelerated plans to expand Starlink, aiming to maintain SpaceX's significant lead in global satellite internet coverage. He authorized unprecedented investment in next-generation satellite technologies, advanced propulsion systems, and increased payload capacities. Starlink's expansion became Musk's top priority, driven by the urgent need to remain ahead of China's rapidly advancing satellite capabilities. Would this massive investment be enough to outpace China's formidable progress? To counter China's advantage in energy technology, Musk pushed SpaceX to speed up development of its own ambitious projects, such as space-based solar power systems and orbital manufacturing platforms. SpaceX aggressively pursued these innovations, seeking to secure American technological dominance in space infrastructure and energy production. Could Musk successfully develop technology that would neutralize China's groundbreaking advancements? Simultaneously, Musk reached out to key allies, establishing new partnerships with NASA, the European Space Agency, and private firms across the globe. These collaborations aimed to pool resources, share technology, and counter China's growing space influence through coordinated, collective action. Musk's powerful combination of innovation and strategic collaboration aimed to restore confidence in Western leadership. But could this alliance effectively counter China's ambitious global strategy? Critically, Musk's response wasn't just technological, it was also cultural. He harnessed his enormous public following, rallying support for SpaceX through an unprecedented public relations campaign.
Gives you a sense for what's capable. We actually got a lot of off-site machining that we do as well.
Social media buzzed with excitement over SpaceX's bold new initiatives, helping rebuild confidence in Western innovation and leadership. Musk framed this as a historic struggle for the future of humanity, a narrative that resonated deeply with millions worldwide. Could Musk's powerful storytelling win the global public relations battle against China? Yet, Musk knew success depended on tangible, rapid results. SpaceX dramatically increased launch frequency, deploying record numbers of advanced satellites and publicly demonstrating capabilities previously thought impossible. The goal was simple: showcase Western technological dominance so convincingly that global trust in Chinese technology would be shaken. Could SpaceX's lightning-fast progress reverse the geopolitical momentum China had carefully built? As Musk's ambitious counterattack gathered momentum, governments worldwide watched closely, hopeful but skeptical. Musk's vision was undeniably inspiring, but the stakes had never been higher. Would Musk's relentless innovation and strategic alliances be enough to reclaim space leadership? Or was China's advantage already too significant to overcome? China's bold vision, dominating Earth's orbit. While Musk doubled down on innovation, China's vision for space was expanding rapidly beyond what many had anticipated. Reports surfaced of Beijing's aggressive strategy to establish dominance not just in satellite technology, but across multiple strategic space domains. With plans already set for extensive orbital power stations, lunar bases, and space-based manufacturing hubs, China seemed intent on fundamentally reshaping humanity's relationship with space itself. But what was China's true endgame? China unveiled its ambitious Orbital Silk Road, a massive network of interconnected satellites and orbital platforms designed to integrate communications, surveillance, energy distribution, and manufacturing directly from space. This groundbreaking initiative aimed to position China as the primary controller of space-based infrastructure, essentially becoming the gatekeeper of Earth's orbit. Could this ambitious vision shift global economic power irrevocably toward Beijing? Further details emerged about China's planned orbital solar power station, a colossal project capable of generating massive amounts of clean energy, beaming it directly to Earth via advanced microwave technology. This initiative, though long considered speculative, suddenly appeared credible. The proposed system promised nearly limitless energy, free of geopolitical vulnerabilities associated with fossil fuels. But would this seemingly utopian project conceal hidden military applications? Military analysts quickly noted the strategic potential. China's solar stations, if weaponized or leveraged for intelligence, could instantly disrupt enemy communication and navigation networks. The peaceful facade of clean energy disguised a platform capable of reshaping global security dynamics overnight. Could China's peaceful promises mask preparations for a new era of space militarization? China didn't stop at orbital infrastructure. It expanded plans for lunar colonization with permanent moon bases designed for resource extraction and scientific research. Official statements hinted at ambitious proposals to mine lunar helium-3, a potent fuel source for future fusion reactors. The moon, previously viewed as merely a symbol of national pride, suddenly became economically and strategically critical. Was China positioning itself to monopolize access to crucial lunar resources? Simultaneously, China announced accelerated timelines for Mars colonization, suggesting permanent habitats by mid-century. These developments sparked concerns among international observers who feared China might assert territorial claims beyond Earth. Although international space law forbids sovereign claims, China's overwhelming technological advantage could effectively enforce its dominance, regardless of existing treaties. Would international laws prove insufficient to curb China's ambitious reach? China's integrated vision extended even to space-based manufacturing, with advanced orbital platforms planned to assemble structures impossible to build on Earth. These platforms promised breakthroughs in material sciences, pharmaceuticals, and even spacecraft production. Such orbital manufacturing capabilities could drastically shift economic power, centralizing unprecedented control in China's hands. Could Earth's manufacturing centers soon become obsolete? Beijing's bold public statements and relentless technological advancements triggered intense debates in global political forums. World leaders struggled to formulate cohesive responses, caught between the lure of collaboration and the fear of domination. Could nations afford to remain passive as China aggressively reshaped humanity's future from orbit? Ultimately, China's bold vision represented more than mere technological advancement. It was a profound challenge to the existing global order. By mastering space infrastructure, energy, manufacturing, and even colonization, China aimed not only to dominate space, but to redefine global influence for generations. Were we witnessing the birth of a new superpower whose dominion began not on Earth, but among the stars? China's latest advancements are reshaping the world faster than ever before. But what do you think? Is this the dawn of a new age of collaboration, or a fierce competition that could redefine global power? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the next video on your screen.